Welcome to episode 26 of Venti Questions, the show with friends, coffee, and conversation. I'm Michael.
And I'm Chris, and today we're talking about animals with jobs.
That's right.
As opposed to those lazy animals without them.
Little freeloaders.
Which animals actually work, and what do they do?
Well, be sure to listen all the way through to find out.
So, Michael, what's new with you?
All right, so I got a fun thing.
All right.
So, for those long-time listeners, and just people who know me, Nightwing is my favorite character in all of, superherodom.
Yeah.
Right?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Shocker. Wow.
Shocker.
So, this past week, not only was my birthday, but also on my birthday, they released the 100th issue of Nightwing. And it was really cool. Here's the thing. It was a special 56-page issue. So it was a nice, almost double book. And they decided to come out with 12 variants.
Oh, boy.
12, Chris.
And you're going to buy them all.
See, when you say the word going to...
And you must have bought them all.
Unfortunately not. I only got 10 of them.
Those elusive 2 books.
No, for real. Okay, so there's 2 books I couldn't get yet. Here's the problem.
Uh-oh.
So the coolest thing, and I'm probably gonna say the name wrong because I'm horrible at remembering names. Is it George Perez that was the artist? Yeah. Okay. So obviously he recently passed.
Yeah.
One of the covers is the storyboard conceptual drawing of Nightwing from him. And I have that one in the black and white standard card, but they have a color foil version.
That's going to be tough to get.
Yeah. And the other one, and this one, I messed up the name. I wish I would have looked it up. Dara Mora or Darren Mora or Dan Mora. I think it might be Dan Mora.
Dan, I think.
And that one is awesome. It is such a good cover. And that one is the most elusive.
Yeah.
I think it's considered a 1/100 or something like that. I don't know what that means, by the way. There's a 125, a 150, and then a 1/100. And I have I have the 125s and I have the 150s. I don't have the 100s. Both of those are the files. The foils, rather.
So one of... No,
because that would be the other way around.
Yeah.
That's why I don't understand what it means.
Okay.
But it says it, and then also the guy on the phone was doing it.
So, you're talking about the issue numbers?
No.
No?
No. Those the variant issue numbers are A, B, C, D, E, F, and...
Yeah, I know. I know.
I think it goes to K.
On this one?
Whatever the heck the 12th letter is in the alphabet. I could count it, but I don't feel like it. But I want to explain a little bit of what the situation was. Now, you're going to know who I'm talking about, but because I'm going to speak disparagingly about a couple of comic book shops, I'm not going to say who they are. You'll know who I'm talking about, though.
Can't wait.
So, the one place I will talk about is Coliseum of Comics, because they were freaking awesome.
They're always consistent.
Per usual.
Yeah.
So, I went to the location up here in Millennia, first and foremost. I couldn't actually go on my birthday because even though I'm a huge fan, and I did state that starting 2023 January, we were going to do comics again, I didn't know anything about this event until I happened to see a video on my birthday at a time frame when they were just about ready to close. So I couldn't do anything until the day after. So anyway, I headed out to the Millennia location, and they had 2 versions on the wall. Not the wall, the shelf.
Okay.
The wall is where they put the nice ones. The shelf is just the regular place, right?
Sure.
Terminology wise.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So they had one of the ones that I had seen online for like $75 for like 20.
Oh, cool. Nice.
So I snagged that.
Sure.
It was already boarded and bagged.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I found that I had another pack of 100 boards and bags just randomly like 2 or 3 days before this.
Oh, nice.
At the house. So yeah.
Cool.
But anyway, so I grabbed both of those, went up to the front, and I was just like, I have no pride. Excuse me, do you know if you have any more of these anywhere? Blah, blah, blah. And this was the only negative thing. This particular person, you could tell, just didn't really give a crap. But it was the only person that calls you that was like that. And so she did look around. She was like, no, I'm sorry, that's really it. In the interim, I looked up on the wall and I saw the final issue of Dark Crisis, which is a holographic, like T-posing Nightwing. And I'm like, how much is that? And she was like, oh, it's 40. And I'm like, yeah, bring it down. So I got that too.
Nice.
Because I was like, oh, I want to get the Dark Crisis line anyway, because that's kind of like the new push going to making him like more of a predominant figure.
Sure.
So anyway, did that. And I said like, hey, is there any way that you could like look to see where all the other types of covers I could find at? And she was like, yeah. And so she, she's looking through
reluctantly.
Yeah. Like I said, she was still really polite, but you could tell like she was busy. That's all it really was.
Sure.
And she was like, well, it looks like Kissimmee's probably going to have like the biggest selection. They are one of the big ones. But oh, that's cool, man. I'll just head over there. She was like, all right, cool. No problems.
She said, just go all the way down.
Yeah,
there.
just drive the 45 minutes in traffic and you'll be fine. So I went over there. Now, even though Kissimmee is not our local, they know me because of all the Blood Bowl crap.
Right.
Which they're not even freaking restocking. They rearranged the whole area. I'm very upset. But anyway, I go in. They had like 2 more ones on the wall. Not on the wall. Sorry. Oof. On the shelf.
Different ones.
Yeah. So I snagged those. And I was like, score. This guy, I was just like shooting it with him. And I was just like, yeah, man, that's what's going on. Because I was waiting in line, And he was like, oh, man, that's really cool. Well, happy belated, blah, blah, blah. That's awesome. That's really kind of like serendipitous. I'm like, I know, right? He actually used that term, which I had been using. So I was like, ah. And so we had a bonding moment. And he was like, well, dude, do we just call around and find out for you? And I'm like, I mean, if you don't mind. And he's like, yeah. So he called.
And you're like, here's the ones I have already.
Physically called.
Yeah.
And was like, hey, do you have one of the Dan Moore ones? And we were like, no. He's like, crap, sorry, bro. Because there was only 3 locations that got a single one, and all of them went to subscribers, which is what it should happen.
You need to be a subscriber, man. Come on.
It almost pushed me over the edge to do it. So basically what ended up happening, and the conclusion for that was he was able to find one of them that I didn't have. I don't even know which one it is. And at the East Colonial store, and it's currently being shipped over to Kissimmee for me to pick up.
Oh, nice.
Now, here's the best part about it. Spoiler, it's going to be a duplicate. Because I went more places after this.
And you got one.
But I don't know which one it is, but that's going to be the one I actually read. I still haven't read it because I don't want to touch these freaking things.
Right.
Because I'm going to like get these nicely displayed and everything with it. I'm thinking about doing like a really nice like frame to put all of them in.
Nice.
And then if I ever get the other 2, then I'll probably get those like CGC.
Nice.
Because they're actually like worth some stuffs. Like they're already going for like $300 and $500.
You might find them CGC. You might just pay for them.
That would be worth it to me because I've been looking into it and it's such a process. But anyway, so
it's pain.
It looked like it, to be completely honest. Offline, we'll talk about this.
Yeah.
But so then I told the guy, I was like, I hate to do this to you, buddy, but I'm about to go off the map. I'm going to have to go to your competitors. And he's like, I feel you, man. Good luck. And I'm like, I know. Oh, so
you went.
So the first place I went to was a place out there by the Florida Mall. Never been to before, but I'd seen it. I think we may have went there.
We've been there once.
Yeah.
It's like across the street.
Yes.
And that weird little, there's a music store, I think,
Yes.
in the same
All the pianos. So that guy hated the fact that I was in his store.
We had that similar experience.
Yes, we did. This dude, so there was one person who was checking out when I came in. I was standing politely, looking at the wall, trying to see anything. Couldn't find any of them. And I'm like, okay, I'll ask him. And I ask him, and he's like, no, it'd probably be somewhere over here if we didn't have it. And I'm like, well, it came out yesterday. He's like, oh. I'm like, how do you not know? You own/operate a comic book store, and you don't know about an issue that's important enough for a major publication that they're doing 12 variants and is now going to be the main poster child of their company, and you're not aware? Give me your keys. Like, this is not my store. What the heck is your problem?
Mine.
So as he's like pretending to ruffle around, I'm like, oh, there's one right there. It was just staring at me. It was my fault. It was like a collage of characters. And he's like, oh, okay, cool.
Oh, that guy? Who's that again?
If he would have said that, I would have punched him in the face. Is that Deathwing? So I grabbed that one because I hadn't gotten that one yet. And so I was like, all right, cool. Tried to like start up a conversation with him. Nothing. Started to leave, and I'm like, oh, actually, I'm just gonna look around really quick because I haven't looked at all the like your stuff. They have tons of figurines and stuff like that, and really, really cool statuettes. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. And then just like went behind his computer and just like completely ignored the fact I was in there. I felt like uncomfortable, but I was like, whatever, dude. Looked around and was like, you don't got any good shit. So I left. So then I went to one very close to where you live.
Oh. That place still there, huh?
So I walked in, and there was nobody in there, not even an owner. And I was looking around going, wow, I could steal so many books right now. And then out of the bathroom came a very sweaty individual that obviously was having to rush to pull up some pants. And so I asked him, and he's like, very like rushed and very like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Which ones are you looking for, man? And I'm like, well, I don't really know exactly which one. Well, I mean, if you don't know which variants you already have, I mean, I'm not going to like look through every single one here. And I was just like, cool. I mean, they just showed up today. Like our stuff got messed up by FedEx, so it was late. And so I haven't even had a chance to go through it. And I'm like, cool, man. He's like, all right, just give me your information. I'll give you a holler. And I was like, okay. So I did. Still waiting on that call. Been holding my breath. Oh, if he called me now with freaking one of the two I don't have, I'd be like, I'm good, thanks. That's a lie. I would gravel. But I'll
have them all.
Yeah, I really am a collecting kind of guy. So then I went over to the other one further down.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this one, I'm only not going to say their name because it was some shady junk, but it worked out in my favor. So I had to wait again. And the woman, yes. it's a husband and wife, I believe, right?
Yep.
And so the woman was like finishing up with this little kid. They were setting up a deck for Magic the Gathering and stuff. And it was so cool.
They do a lot of the game stuff.
Yeah, I was like really like into like the interaction.
They're starting to carry back issues too now. They weren't before. And now they're starting to carry like back issues of comics.
Really? Yeah, because I didn't see any like massive like tables of boxes like you do at the other places.
Yeah.
So anyway, I asked her, I'm like, hey, do you happen to have any issue 100 of Nightwing? Because there was none on the wall. And she was like, I don't think so. I think the only ones we got were for our like so
they do a lot
subscribers.
Of that. Yeah.
She's like, well, you know what? Give me a second. Let me look.
Oh, you stole subscribers.
Yeah.
So I already knew where this is going.
So then she like bends down underneath the thing and she's rifling.
Yeah.
And she's like, I mean, he hasn't showed up yet. And I was like, it came out yesterday. And so then I got another one that I hadn't gotten.
Yeah. She's really nice, by the way.
She was awesome. And because of that, I will be going back.
Very helpful.
She was super sweet to me.
That would be the place.
She was sitting down and spending time with somebody who was no way older than like 11. Yeah. And to me, I mean, that means a lot, you know, especially after the service I had just received from the guy who wanted me to get the hell out of there. Oh, by the way, when I left, he went back into the bathroom.
Right.
to finish business.
And just so you know, what she probably did is there are people that have subscriptions that just don't show for them, and they just keep putting them in the box, and they have like a stack.
Yeah.
And then they know that they're not going to purchase all of those because how much money would that be?
It'd be like a
she
$500
probably went
thing.
to the person that she's like, okay, this person's, I'm not getting money from them, but I am getting money from the guy who's here in front of me.
Absolutely. And like I said, she made me a fan.
Yeah.
It's the second time I've been in there. The first time was right after they opened up, and I didn't feel very welcomed.
My experience too.
It wasn't good. We shared a similar experience.
They were just setting up. I think they didn't really kind of know the direction they want to go.
They were much more like
the game. They were doing it slot cars actually at that time.
Oh, really? No, when I went, it was all about like the figurines,
right?
And it wasn't a fun experience. But anyway, so I did that. Then I only had 6, and I'm like, oh, this sucks. Well, I had 6, and then I had 1 extra one on the way from the East Colonial. Sure. So technically I had 7. So I went home, and I went online, and I found the other 4 regular retail price from one of like the comic book, like big like comic book stores. I don't remember which one it is now. I think it might have been Atlas. I could be wrong, dude. I don't remember at this point. No, I think it was starts with an I, Intrepid, something like that. They're going to arrive in like 3 or 4 days. So I ordered those.
Hopefully they're in good condition.
That's the only thing I'm concerned about.
How they pack them.
I know that's my biggest concern. But at the same token, all of those ones are like the regular $7.99 ones because it's a double issue. And so I could finagle finding those ones much easier.
The nice thing is, since you did it like right as they came out, you're getting first printing of them.
Yes. And that's important to me because I want first printing of all of these freaking things. I know it's a dumb thing, but it's just like I'm willing to put the money into it.
And I know you're a collector, and sometimes what they do is they change it up a little bit for the second printing, and it might be aesthetically somewhat different.
Which means I'll have to get all those because
and sometimes second printings end up becoming more. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I was actually very surprised. So I'm not going to do it now because I don't want to take up 45 years of our time here. But like the covers are awesome. Yeah. And I'll show them to you. And you'll understand why I want the Dan Mora one. Even if it wasn't for like the fact that it was rare. It's probably like, it's a tie with the George Perez color one as my favorite. Of course, the 2 that are the coolest to me. Because one, it's just like, that's awesome. They're playing like really good homage to like one of the main like noticeable artists for the character, and the other one is just
basically made
awesome.
Nightwing.
Yeah. And the way that they have this particular one is it shows all the different versions of Nightwing like throughout the years on the Dan Mora one, but it's drawn so well. Anyway, it's awesome.
Yeah.
So that was basically a 24-hour period of my week that was extremely fun because I got back in there.
Yeah.
And just so you know, there is a big event that is like kicking off. It's Lazarus Planet.
Oh yeah.
And one of the first like variants of the Lazarus Planet thing is Attack on Krypton or something like that.
Makes sense.
And there's some really cool variant covers. Just putting it out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we should go check that out.
It's been like 2 years since I've stopped collecting.
You stopped collecting maybe like a month or so, maybe 2 months after I did.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic happened and we just out. So,
yeah.
But what's new with you?
What's new with me? I started reading the second book in the Mistborn series. Well of Ascension. Yeah, actually.
Oh, look at you with the visual aid.
I'm prepared. Yeah. So Brandon Sanderson, The Well of Ascension, and it's just the second book in the 3-book trilogy of the Mistborn.
Is that a series. Place marker to where you're at?
Yeah,
so you're about halfway.
About halfway. Yeah, a little bit more than halfway. So.
Do you agree with my assumption that I'm good with not continuing on?
I'm really enjoying it.
I know you are. But as you know me, do you think it's worth me trying to like get into it, or like you're probably fine where you're at?
I don't know, man, because I'm enjoying it, I would like someone else to enjoy it. I do think that you'll be stronger opinionated on it because you do listen to more of audiobooks and you do listen to more of like fantasy genre audiobooks than I do, or just read them or whatever it is. I happen to really like this one because the first one was good, but it was so much character development and world building and magic building. Like it had to explain everything to you.
They had to Phantom Menace you.
Right. And then not only explain it all to you, but then help you connect with those characters. And they're doing that all in one book.
Right.
And then they have to have the plot, and then they have to have a conclusion, which they do. Right. And you can read that book and then be completely satisfied with just reading that one. And then, you're good to go. But this one takes all of the characters that you've invested in and you've grown to know and like, and then the different personalities, and it expands upon that, and then adds a couple other characters in there.
Right.
But it's more of like the direction they take the characters that and then what they become. It's like, oh, okay, like now I'm invested in this character. They were okay before, but now I'm like, oh, I really do like them. Like that's deeper, and so he does a really good job with that. I think that character development part of it. It's less of the magic stuff going on, like the Allomancy. And I was about to say it and then I thought I was wrong, but
I would not have been able to even remember what it was called until you misspoke, and then it made me think of the actual thing.
I was gonna say alchemy. I'm like, no, that's the wrong.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah, but that's the wrong thing. Yeah, but the Allomancy, and it's less of that. There's still some of it in there, and they're doing it, but like you already know. And there's one kind of new thing with it, but that she tests out. But it's not a focal point of it like it was in the first book. It's now more of the like political intrigue and like the strategy, and like, all right, now what are they going to do? They're in this position. I don't want to ruin it for anyone who wants to read it, but they've accomplished what they wanted to accomplish.
It's setting up the new.
And now what? Right. And so it's all over the place. And there's all these people and different interests that are trying to basically gain control of the city and then base the area, because of that. And so it's really cool how it's more of the Game of Thrones aspect of it where, their alliances made and things, meetings going on, and then who's the traitor, who's the, like that kind of stuff, more of that spy type thing too. So for me, it's really intriguing, but
that was an aspect of the first book that I felt was
lackluster.
It wasn't lackluster. You could tell that he had like the pieces parts, but then he didn't execute.
Right.
This is the execution.
This is the promise of that. Right?
Yeah. Because there was a little bit of that, just because the way the story is, where like anybody could be like a double agent, and there was a couple. Yeah. And I thought that was really interesting. But that's cool.
Yeah. So I'm actually enjoying to the fact that I can't wait to continue to read it. It's one of those, like, now I'm excited to, and I had to fight to get into the first one.
Yeah, and that's what really is what the biggest apprehension for me is because so did I.
Right. And this one picks up right when that one ends, basically.
Well, see, right now for me, I'm stuck like, I don't know, an hour, 2-3 hours in on the third book of a series, and I'm just like, I got like burnt out because I listened to the first 2 books in like less than a week, and they were each like 20 something plus hours. So I'm just like, so I've been just doing podcasts recently.
That's what I did with the Star Wars one. I kind of burned myself out on them, but then I'm like, all right, I'm kind of done.
Yeah, I still haven't finished that.
I had to move away, Yeah.
But so what's we drinking tonight, my man?
We're drinking some coffee tonight, eh?
We're drinking coffee,
Some coffee, eh?
Tonight.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good dark roast,
It is. I am pleased to say that we decided not only with cream and sugar this time, but also the plain black coffee variation. Delicious.
Yeah. This is Raven's Brew Gourmet Coffee, right?
This is their Wicked Wolf variety.
Oh,
I didn't know if I was gonna have to do it or you were gonna do it. All right,
you gave me a
player,
look.
team player.
There you go.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It was a dark roast, like you were saying. It's a whole bean, so we did actually get to grind it ourselves. And then the theming for it is Little Red Riding Hood. The one thing on the front, it's like their slogan, I guess, for it is "Granny's gone, but the coffee's on," and it's questionable. I don't know if I like the creepiness of that.
A little creepy.
The front photo is also pretty creepy. I'm sure as I will be having this spin around for the video version right now. Yeah, it's a little. It looks like sweet and innocent at first, but then when you really look closer, you're like, are those blood marks?
That Granny's corpse.
What?
Guess it is.
So, but overall, we did have a 52 for the both of us for the plain black coffee, and then a 76 for the cream and sugar. If you want to see more in detail, make sure you check out our actual video on the review
rating
process.
Yeah.
I don't know what you would call that.
The tasting.
Tasting. I like that. The tasting. You heard it right here, folks. We're now calling it the tastings. Venti questions. A tasting.
A special tasting.
A special tasting.
For you. Oh no, don't do that.
Anyway, so we're gonna move on. Don't look at my show notes, because I'm about to ask you some questions.
Not wearing my glasses, I can't see from here.
That's really sad that I actually believe you. All right, so
Blurry, I'm not gonna lie.
okay, that's fair. That is fair. So I got, I think, 5, maybe 6 questions for you of a would you rather
Oh,
based upon animals.
whoa, that doesn't sound great.
No, it doesn't sound correlated to this episode's topic at all. All right. Would you rather hug a koala or a red panda?
I hear koalas are actually nasty.
From my understanding,
Unless
koalas
they're like drugged.
are only messed up when they haven't been eating their eucalyptus leaves, which is one of the main ingredients in aspirin. So they're doped up.
I'm going to go with the red panda.
I mean, I'm going to pick the red panda regardless. Have you seen the red panda? They're so adorable.
Yeah.
My TikTok, that algorithm is real. It knows what I like. Stand up cat videos and red panda videos, buddy. Anywho.
Red panda.
Okay. Would you rather ride an ostrich or a camel?
Camel.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to ride a camel. That sounds cool. But like, can you imagine how awesome it would look to be like driving down the road and then you look over to your right and there's a freaking ostrich with a person on it just like oh, that'd be awesome.
I just want to hump.
Okay, we're gonna go on to the next one.
No, I think camel. I would not get hurt riding a camel
I don't know, dude. Like that
compared to an ostrich.
I feel like you're gonna get more bouncing and bumping in bad areas with humps.
It's slower.
Yeah, which means it's a freaking valley, so it's just perfect to go
People more commonly ride camels than they do ostrich.
in this country.
Where they have those animals.
Okay. In fairness, those animals are not in the same places, so that is an inaccurate statement.
No, where they have those animals, both individually, right?
Right. Well, Australians are more likely to ride an ostrich than they are a camel because they don't have any camels there.
I'm going to bet you money that if we look up the stats of people riding camels versus ostrich, then there's going to be more people riding camels.
All right. You know what? We're going to do this later. Okay.
No, I'm just saying.
And we're going to post it on Twitter.
You can do it at home and you can comment in the comment section.
Feel free to be on the correct side of this argument.
This guy wants to ride a bird.
You say that like it's a bad thing.
Doesn't fly.
Wow. Hater. Wouldn't you love to like slide around with a penguin?
You would crush that poor ostrich.
Have you seen how big these ostriches are?
Yeah.
Wow, that hurts. Anywho, would you rather hold a snake or a tarantula?
Snake.
There's no right answer with this.
Yeah.
I have held snakes. And
Yeah,
I
me
think
too.
I would have to choose the snake
No.
to hold, but I don't want to hold either.
Snake.
Yeah.
Yeah, snake hands down. Because tarantula, I don't want them spraying me with them little hairs and
little
those
things
those
creepy.
beady little eyes and their little no, things. No.
Yeah, but do you want the little like,
I don't get little tongue. I don't care.
and then it bites you? You ever been bit by a snake?
Once.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was a little one.
Inside, outside?
Huh?
At a place?
Outside.
Like in like the woods and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Backyard.
Cool. Fun facts. Previous job. I've been bitten multiple times. Had to deal with them. I also had to force feed them. So, equal. Would you rather put your head in a lion's mouth or an alligator's mouth?
That's stupid.
But those are things that anyone who's a lion tamer or an alligator wrangler, I guess that would be the right terminology. That's one of the stupid things they always do to prove how well they've trained them.
So I have watched
I've watched that go wrong for both of them.
for both of them, but more so for the alligator, where you can't read like emotions on those things.
No, because they're reptiles.
Right. That's what I mean.
They're cold-blooded.
Right. Oh,
Cold-blooded.
no. But I've watched people put their head in the alligator and then it chomp or it go after them.
Those rednecks never saw it coming.
I've also watched lion videos where they raise them and then they're hugging them and it's great. And that's
It's a
fine.
cat.
I'd rather I'll take my chance with the cat because I can read the body language of a cat better than I can the reptile.
The reptile. No, I mean, I'm with you on that.
It's not advisable.
I don't want to do it either way.
No.
But once again, if I'm in a world where this is literally the only option, I don't have a third option, yeah, I'm picking the lion. Because at the end of the day, I feel like after this exercise in trust, I'd rather like curl up with the lion and give him some pets than the alligator.
You ain't lying.
All right, here's the last one. Would you rather fight a Siberian tiger or a grizzly bear? Can I just give you a little bit of information?
Siberian tiger. The odds are less because there are less of them in the world. Statistically speaking, they were on the endangered list.
Let me give let me give you the scenario here.
Okay, paint me the picture.
So, you are a criminal, a convicted, guilty criminal. You are put into an arena, and there's two cages. In one cage, there's a Siberian tiger. In another cage, there's a grizzly bear. And they go, pick your opponent, or we'll release them both. Are you still picking the Siberian tiger? Now that it's no longer an issue of whether or not they're going to be extinct.
I'm gonna Life of Pi it and go with the tiger. Like,
What a reference. Wasn't the tiger like part of his imagination?
exactly.
Wow. Okay. I mean, so is this question. So there you go.
Yeah. No, I think that I'm dead either way. Like,
Oh yeah, you're totally screwed.
unless you're Leonardo DiCaprio.
Or
In the Revenant.
if you're Russell Crowe in Gladiator.
Yeah. Those are movies. And
Yes, they are equally both movies. That's
yes.
correct.
So, I mean, in a real life scenario, I don't know, man. I think you're dead either way. Bears they could be pretty intense.
Now, yeah, and the only, okay, so let me just clarify a little bit of housekeeping behind the scenes. So I was just going to say a tiger or a bear, but I knew you. And I knew that you were going to be like, oh, bear, because I'm going to pick a freaking red panda.
Koala bear.
A koala bear.
Punt it.
I'm gonna get a teddy bear. I'm gonna get Winnie the Pooh to fight. And so I knew I had to be like grizzly bear.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, if I don't say what type of tiger, you're gonna give me some other crap. So I had to be
Tiger is Tigger.
pedophile. He's a pedophile tiger. That's what he is.
It's true.
He's a honking tiger.
Boing, 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 boing.
That's good. Yeah, I'd fight the tiger only because I know I'm going to die either way, and I want to go out dying to a tiger.
It'd be cool.
Yeah, it'd be a cool eulogy.
Yeah, you googly.
It'd be a good you Googleizer to go ahead and let everybody know how I went out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that brings us to our main topic.
Yeah.
Animals with jobs.
Yeah. It's working animals. So,
I looked up some interesting facts about a few different types of animals. So the first one that I want to talk about is something that is now a new addition to your home.
Oh.
Which are rats.
Rats, yes.
I did not know this, but rats are actually used for landmine detection.
Man detection, yep.
I was like, wait, what? So I looked into it, and basically the big thing for them, I want to say where they looked at. It's in both Africa and Asia, and they're like the big 3-pounders. And the reason why they're utilized is because they can be trained really easily to be able to find them both deep down and then also around, but they don't weigh enough to trigger them. And it says that they're trained, I think it said, it takes 9 months to train them, which sounds like a lot, but the grand scheme of things, not really. And they want to make sure that you're aware they do get a fair wage.
Interesting.
They are paid in food.
There you go.
Mostly bananas.
Bananas.
Which was hilarious because I feel like most people, I have one particular opinion of mice/rats, and I expected it to be cheese.
Yeah, actually, most of them are lactose intolerant, and that is not what is preferred to give them, actually, which I didn't know until I got them. And I'm like, here, give them cheese. Nope.
I knew that, but it was deep in the recesses of my mind, and only because of previous jobs where I had to take care of them.
Pretty bad for them.
But the same thing with cats and milk.
Yes, same thing.
They shouldn't be getting their little saucers full of milk.
Nope.
But there again, I mean, I couldn't help but give Tora a little bit of the ice cream at the end of the bowl. I mean, that's he earned it. You know what I mean?
They want it.
Yeah. I mean, when do they not want it? Let's be real.
Exactly.
All right. So the next one, this one's, everybody already knew this one, but I still wanted to put it in there. Dogs. The thing about the dogs is that the little subtitle I gave it was smelling machines.
Oh.
Because not only are they really good at being able to detect bombs,
Cancer.
And you took away my
Stole your thunder.
my ending thunder point. I was gonna say, are they good for detecting bombs and then also drugs, but then also cancer?
Yeah.
Which is still something I don't understand. I tried to look it up, and there was a lot of technical jargon, and I was like, cool, so they can smell it. Awesome. And I decided to close out of that tab.
Yeah.
But no, I thought it was really cool. Obviously, you also see them utilized for military and police for attack dogs as well. One of the really interesting things that I found out about when we had the Zwerg snout was how Schnauzers and Dobermans were used in correlation together by the German army, where the Schnauzer, who isn't very fast and agile, but has amazing hearing and eyesight, would be used as the spotter for then the German Shepherd, who is super agile and fast, to then go attack. So you'd have 2 guards, and they'd have one of each. And then when the one spotted it, it'd be like, hey, bro, check it out. Look, thing. And the other one would go.
What would they be smelling for?
Really? That's what we're going to do? Work on that way? Really?
Bombs?
You're anti-Semitic, and I don't like it.
What are you talking about?
I know exactly what you were thinking. You're a horrible human being. We're moving on.
What?
You can't even say it with a straight face.
Really wanted to know what they were supposed to be doing. Their job to look for what?
Russian soldiers and Allied soldiers.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was landmines or...
No. They were guard dogs.
Guard dogs.
Yeah. Just like Shar-Peis were used.
Also, seeing eye dogs which is the most common thing you see kind of around, as far as working dogs for like civilians and such.
I have a thing for that later, which is why I didn't incorporate that. Yeah.
Look at that.
Then you have the very old adage of, canaries in a coal mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which,
That's an oldie though.
It is an oldie. I don't think that's really utilized that much anymore, but that's because I don't think there's that many coal mines anymore.
Coal sustainable coal. It's...
I don't know, man. I think I got the black lung pups.
Zoolander. It's a good one.
That one was pretty, that's the pretty basic thing though, is that, the little adage was that in the early 20th century, John Scott Handley noted the toxic gas was often the cause of the miner's death, and he offered a simple solution, which was the canaries.
Just kill the birds.
Basically, it's the most inhumane thing ever, which I think is why they don't do it anymore, because it's just a carbon dioxide? Is that how you say it? I don't know how you pronounce it. Monoxide. Sorry. I knew it. Dude, okay. Leave me alone. Thanks for helping me out of that, by the way. I really appreciate you bailing. Anyway.
I wanted you to do it all on your own. That's how you learn.
You're the kind of person that threw the kid into the water and was like, they'll learn to swim or they'll die. Right?
No, I got my kids swim lessons.
Yeah, but how was the graduation for that?
They throw them into the water.
I know.
And they hope
same place to mine.
Yeah. I didn't do it. Someone else threw my kid in.
I really wanted to do the "This is Sparta" kick.
Yes.
But if I did that, I think I'd still have issues with my child.
No, what happens is
she'd look at me as like a horrible human being.
You knock the wind out of them before they get into the water. The water.
It's a real test.
Yeah.
There's no pass or fail in this house. It's just pass.
Away.
Oh. Okay, so this one was actually really interesting. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't finish my thought.
No.
So they have carbon monoxide like detectors now that are like mechanical. So there's no reason just to let animals die.
Get the bird. No, not the bird. I named this one. Tweety.
Oh, that's sad. So one thing I did not know was that horses are utilized as like guide animals, especially miniature horses. Just like you would similarly see with like a dog, like a seeing eye dog, but a miniature horse.
Interesting.
And one of the nice things about it is because they live to be about 50 years old, which I also had no clue about.
The miniature ones?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so it does take, I want to say it takes a couple of years though.
It takes about 50.
No, it's funny. No. This wasn't one that took so long. This one doesn't say that, but one of the other main reasons why they're utilized is people that are like allergic to dogs.
Oh.
Because they're typically hyperallergenic, which once again wasn't aware of, because I know there are people that are allergic to horses.
Right.
But I guess the miniature one's different.
Hypoallergenic. No.
Yeah, look at that. So I thought that was really cool. They started being considered part of the Americans Disability Act, whatever, since like 2011. So like they're official, man. Like they got their little like union cards and everything. They clock in and out every day for work.
Interesting.
Yeah, much better than our freaking animals.
They eat their way in, they're waiting hay. So. Hey.
So I got two more. One is just funny to me, so we're gonna say that one for last.
Okay.
But monkeys.
They see and they do.
They also hear no, see no, and speak no.
Evil.
There you go. So monkeys, and it's a particular type, which I'm going to have to look up because I can't pronounce it. It's a capuchin. It's like the little tiny ones. Remember from the show Friends?
Yeah.
Ross's
monkey.
Little monkey?
Yeah.
Those types. They actually can be trained to help people with disabilities, especially people that have either nerve damage or like spinal cord issues, to like pick up the phone for them or like open a particular thing and so on and so forth. This is the one where it does usually take about 3 to 5 years to train them appropriately. But once again, they live 30 to 40 years, which I was totally unaware of. And so most people, if they do get one of these types of monkeys, will only have to have 1 to maybe 2 in their entire lifetime.
Nice. Go Marcel.
Wow. Oh, I was really just about to do the Lion Sleeps Tonight.
That's the name, right?
It is.
I was like, I'm pretty sure it is.
It is.
I'm gonna go for it. That was brave.
because you could have been totally wrong.
And that's like a tough name. That's not like a regular name, right? So,
oh my gosh. I still remember the thing where he keeps yelling at him not to do it. And he's every stage of grabbing the CD and putting it in and starting to play it. And then he just starts dancing. Now, the last one is the one that I think is the funniest. And this one, I actually am just going to literally read the little paragraph about it because it's adorably hilarious. And that is that of cats.
Meow.
The chief mouser. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this job, but you might be. The British Prime Minister's residence, 10 Dowling Street, needs more than just security guards to keep it safe. In order to protect the building from mice and other rodents, a cat is appointed chief mouser to the cabinet office. Although the title has only recently become official, which is ridiculous, British officials have long kept cats in this capacity, with the first mouser dating back to the 1500s during the reign of Henry VIII. As of 2015, a cat named Larry held the title.
Yep. I knew that. And it was dogs for like terriers for like ratters, right?
Yes.
Yeah. A lot of the time.
Zwergschnauzer used. That's why they were created.
Yep. Yeah. And then and cats, same thing, rats and mice. Yeah. So
but the fact that like I know it's one of those like but like legitimately this dude has a freaking like this cat
can like, get medals and stuff.
Is like, higher up in rank than 3/4 of the population of the UK.
Yeah, has access to places that people just do not have access to.
How ridiculous is this? But you know, it is what it is. I mean, hey, if he's the chief mouser, he's the chief mouser, dude.
Now, do they? What I'm curious about, and we can look into this further, is like tenure for animals, for working animals. Is there anything stating how long an animal can work for? Like how long can it be on the books? Right?
I did actually. I tried to find out certain like details on that, and I'll be completely honest. It's not a mandated across the board thing like for species.
For certain jobs, I think like military dogs, like or like police dog, right?
Yes and no. There's not a rule that like, for the military that says dogs of age 5 are retired. It's dogs that have seen X amount of this, or dogs handlers who have been injured to this level, or there's so many different little like that there's no like set rule. There's just a whole bunch of exceptions.
Right. Okay.
And same thing with police, but a little bit less like that one's not even mandated across the board. It's like Ocala has this rule and Jacksonville has this rule.
I think when they have them, they'll do an annual like assessment,
reassessment.
Right. Reassessment. And if they see anything lacking in any area or whatever, then they would.
That, and if they've also had too many false positives or behavioral issues just in general.
Right.
I did have a acquaintance, I guess. She was a really cool lady, but like we weren't like friends, that trained search and rescue dogs, like third party type style. And she had like 5 or 6 different dogs. And it was really cool, a little bit, you know, into the weeds here, but different ones were used for like different environments and then also different weather.
Interesting. Yeah.
Because they were more or less like capable of being the most precise for it.
Sure.
And there was a couple that she had to retire, which sounds really creepy at first. And then she was like, when I say that they went upstate to a farm, they literally went to like my parents' house upstate New York to a farm. And that because they had figured out the aspect of if I do this, I get this. I'm no longer willing to do the work. So now I'm just going to say I found it. and so I can get my whatever it is that I want to get.
That makes sense.
And she said, like, sometimes what happens when they start to do that is you have to find a new like reward, because a lot of times it's like a particular tennis ball or a special toy.
Sure.
And you basically have to be like, cool, well, now that's just your toy to play with, but now this new one.
Right.
And you have to basically re-go with it.
And what I've learned is it's usually not food.
No.
It's usually a toy or
Yes.
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a little blanket or toy or a raggy or whatever they.
And the main reason is because if it's food based, it can be replicated from other people. But if it's a singular like item, then it can be reutilized each time. Because like if it's beef jerky and then all of a sudden you give them one where like that particular piece of beef jerky sucked, now they can be like, well, now I don't even want to try anymore. You know what I mean? It loses its like allure, I guess.
Sure.
Word. So all that being said, right? How do you feel about the aspect of animals just having jobs?
Animals been working for as long as we've been living alongside them. We've been using them in that capacity.
Absolutely. Right? I think that it's one of those things where I don't think we're ever going to be fully away from it. I don't think we're dependent on animals as a majority as a whole. Obviously, like we were talking about certain people with disabilities, things like that. Obviously, those things are there, but I think that could be replaced eventually by like AI and like robots.
Yeah, absolutely.
And already so many of the things, I mean, we don't need oxen anymore to help till the fields.
Right.
We have big machines, but there is a certain level of like,
there's the emotional connection as well.
I was trying to figure out how you would phrase that, where it's like there's a certain level of like,
it's intangible
humanity
right
in an animal, which is
you're never
funny
gonna
to say.
I mean, I'm not gonna say never, because maybe we'll bond with robots one day, but maybe some people are looking forward to that, but you never know.
There already exist.
It's true. Yeah,
That's a different episode, y'all.
battery packs in the back. All right.
Make sure to leave a comment if you want us to do that episode.
I don't
Click
know.
subscribe.
I think we have that on the books, don't we? Never know.
Not sex bots.
No.
That's what I was referring to.
Oh,
Yeah.
I bet. But no, I think just that part of it, especially when you're getting into the emotional support
Yeah.
realm there, like therapy dogs and,
Yes.
and whatnot, there's a big advantage there.
Well, so here's the thing too. Like therapy dogs are what the stereotypical therapy animal is. But you would be surprised, my dude. There's therapy bearded dragons. There's therapy pigs, therapy goats.
Right.
A lot of barnyard stuff, which I really just feel like legitimately a lot of things that I feel like people are just trying to get away with being able to have.
Yeah.
And they're like, cool, I could get this like officially blah, blah, blah. I think they actually go through the proper channel. I'm not talking about the people that
emotional
are messed up.
support where you can go and do, but I'm talking
I'm talking about the ones that they take to like places to use as therapy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the hospitals.
They do like therapy snakes and stuff now. Yeah.
Not snakes, but at certain hospitals that are local, I am aware of certain animals being brought in.
Weird.
That made me go, I'm sorry, what?
Interesting.
Yes. So, but also just a lot of labs.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still the golden retriever or lab, still like the brand standard.
Dogs are probably going to take most of those jobs only because you could train them to use the bathroom outside and hold their, you don't have to clean up after them as much as you would like emotional support pony. Well, they're just going to poop wherever they want.
But also I feel like the majority of people, not everyone, of course, but the majority of people's face lights up when they see a dog.
Yeah.
It can be a young dog. It can be an old dog. It doesn't matter. A lot of people's faces will light up if they see a cat, but more if they see a kitten. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, and then there again, people are like, oh, it's a cat. Oh, that's really a cute cat. Okay, cool. And they walk away. The dogs are like, oh, who's the good boy? They're now talking to the dog.
Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of people who are afraid of dogs as well.
That's why I said it's not everybody. I think
And that's a cultural thing sometimes too, you know?
It can be, yeah. Especially from people from other countries.
Sure.
Because it's not the same there, you know? It's the same as anything else. Dude, I'm telling you, if we went to Australia, we'd be freaking out over a lot of the environment there. And they're like, it's just this over here. You know, it's not that big of a deal to them. But for us, it's like, I don't want to go near that thing. Yeah. Why are you okay if just walking around in the bush? There's 5 of the world's deadliest snakes that just chill here.
Yeah.
And you're okay with this?
That's funny.
No.
I'm surprised I didn't get a kangaroo question for the Would You Rather.
I'll be honest. I thought about it. I was going to say, would you rather take a double kick to the chest from a kangaroo or a uppercut from Mike Tyson? But I didn't know if that would sound insensitive, like I was trying to say they were both animals. So, because everything else was an animal versus animal, I didn't want to make it sound messed up. So
you were trying to do like a hit thing because kangaroos box
because their kick is
kick.
like legit. And when I think of like a knockout punch, Tyson, bro, come on,
right.
I mean, he may not be able to do it now, but like I don't want to test it.
I still don't want to take my chance.
I don't.
No,
it's like from The Hangover. He still got it.
Still got it.
There's no way I would take a punch in the face from Tyson. No.
Fun.
But yeah, so that's animals with a jab.
Yeah, interesting. Some good ones in there.
Yeah, I think it is an interesting aspect. I did have one more question for you actually. What's your opinion on animals that are used for entertainment? What's your opinion on like the like elephants in like the circus and stuff, or any animals in the circus really?
It's tough. I mean, circus particularly because of the transient nature. Like, you know, I mean, they those conditions, right? They aren't great. They're not kept in large areas because they have to travel and whatnot. Yeah. But I would say no. I mean, I'd rather see one at like a zoo environment that it's because they were saved, right? You know, and they're protected now and they're maintained and taken care of, kind of thing, not just for the purpose of entertainment. So,
I'm with you on that, by the way. But I do happen to know people that used to be in the circus.
Sure.
And I will say that I feel that I don't think people realize how many of them really are purely like good intentioned in the thought process of maintaining and caring of them.
Yeah, of course.
But I will say this, they don't have the time/budget or personnel that a zoo does.
Right.
And
they're
more likely to miss.
Space.
Yeah, they're more likely to miss things.
Right.
And so I agree. Like, don't get me wrong. I think everyone of our generation has ridden an elephant at a circus, but I wouldn't want to have the kid do it.
Yeah.
Not in that environment.
No, not in that environment.
We didn't know any better for us. It was the 90s. Like, it's what you did.
Yeah.
You know? But now I'm just like, let's watch Animal Planet, dude.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not one of those.
I'm not going to protest it or anything, and I'm not going to be mad at somebody who goes.
Right.
It's just not for me.
It's you know, as long as conditions are kept well for them and they're healthy, that kind of thing. I mean, there's a place for it, I guess.
That's fair.
Maybe if there's some education being done too, you know, in some way of like, you know, hey, these are professionals, you know, you shouldn't just go buy a animal and maintain it. Like, there has to be some regulation, obviously, on that. Like, and there wasn't before, really. So.
Yeah. And then also, let's be real here. These are the same people that are going to put their head inside of a lion's mouth. So,
yeah. Typically, people who want to work with animals actually care about animals. They're not going to exploit them nowadays, is what I'm talking about. They're not going to exploit them just for money because they know the consequences that come along with that in the society. So,
yeah. And, you know, especially too, I think the whole SeaWorld aspect of things really was the major change.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, when we were kids, you didn't go to SeaWorld for rides. You went to SeaWorld for their shows.
Right.
And now
they don't get in a tank with them.
They don't even have that many shows.
Right.
Because they stopped making the animals perform.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, they can't get into the tank with whales or anything like that anymore because of the the drowning that pulled her under by her hair.
Shouldn't have been wearing a ponytail.
Yeah,
it was against regulations.
It was her fault. Yeah.
Come on, bro.
Wasn't following the rules.
That's why we have policies and procedures. Okay.
Yeah. But if we talk about working animals like that, like for entertainment and exploitation that way,
no,
I'm not a fan.
No, I'm not a big fan of that either.
So, but for a purpose, because when you give an animal a purpose, I'll tell you, they are happier. They do live long. I mean, unless maybe the landmine rats have an unfortunate incident every now and then, but
oh wow!
Aside from that,
tick tick boom.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, the funny thing you said about rats is what I was about to say was that certain animals actually need to have something to do, and rats is one of those things that rats can become bored if they're not mentally challenged and can become depressed.
Yeah,
which is really insane when you think about it. It's like, oh, your life isn't stimulating enough and you don't feel challenged, and so you don't feel happy? Huh. I wonder what other species could have that same thing.
It's true. I'm learning a lot about rats just by having them, and it's weird to say that I have them, but I mean,
usually when someone says they have rats,
you get the exterminator.
You get the chief mouser.
Or exactly.
I mean,
or
Larry
AKA
is available.
The exterminator. That's what they call him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw
the streets.
It's funny. I saw this little meme where it was talking about the exterminator refers to my cat as a fellow professional colleague.
That's funny.
I saw that come across like one of the feeds, and I was like, giggle, giggle, giggle.
That's funny.
But yeah. Thanks for listening to the Venti Question podcast.
Appreciate it.
We hope that you enjoyed our little deep dive into animals with jobs. If you want to know how we feel about these topics or other ones, make sure you follow us next week when we're going to be doing expectations of a father.
Yeah. Getting into the parenting aspect of things, you know?
Yeah. It's a pretty interesting topic. I did a little research already, and it's a little surprising what was considered to be an expectation versus now. But we'll save that for next week.
Yeah.
But, if you want to help support the podcast, make sure you're sharing it with other people. You're just posting about it up on social media. If you want to kind of see what we're up to, make sure you check us out over at Twitter at Venti_questions. You can also follow us on Instagram at Venti Questions, or you can check us out on YouTube at youtube.com/@VentiQuestions. We have a couple different styles of videos on there, including our review for the Raven's Brew gourmet coffee.
There it is.
It took me half a second, but I got it. There's a little raven on the back that helped, except for the fact that it looks like a crow, so I almost said crow's brew. But, that's not what it's called.
Nope.
Anyway, thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
Happy birthday to you.
Nope.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Michael.
I'm going to mute all of this.
Happy birthday to you.
Wow.